Hey, welcome to Inspiration Station, where it's safe to exercise your soul, and together we get fit to create. I'm Karina, founder of Koi Compositions, and Inspiration Station is a resource for you to rely on anytime you're feeling drained or if your creativity pool is depleted. This is for you to use whenever you need encouragement or a reminder to believe in you. This episode is about the lessons I have learned from my children about how to pursue my creative spark. One of the great privileges of this human life is learning from other humans, and children are some of the greatest teachers because they don't lecture. Instead, they invite you to participate fully in their own reality. Paulo Coelho said that a child can teach you 3 things: to be happy for no reason, to always be curious, and to fight tirelessly for something. I've definitely seen that to be true in my children. Albert Einstein said that play is the highest form of research. And I think that as creators, sometimes we forget the research phase of creating something. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're awesome at it, but I find myself forgetting that part more often than I should. But being able to research isn't always about going into books or going online and finding yourself in a rabbit hole, though that is definitely an experience. But being able to find experiences to assimilate in what we are creating and just noticing how we relate to the world. That is a very important part of research. And play is one of the best ways to do that. And children are really good players. They're really good at playing. They're really good at make-believe. They're really good at trying and giggling through the whole thing and learning those lessons. Some of my main observations from my children about being creative include that they don't have any fears about their play being wrong. They're not trying to get it right. They're not trying to play perfectly. And sometimes when we create, we're just trying to make it right. And that can seriously limit the outcome. I think being able to take risks is inherent in creativity. That's why it can feel so scary. But being able to learn how to have no fear about our form of play is very empowering. They also love without reservation. They're constantly saying yes to the next thing and learning how to respect each other and respect themselves in how they present themselves to the world. And they're always ready to explore new things without hesitation. When I'm around them, I find it extremely freeing that I don't have to have fear surrounding my self-expression, because they don't. They invite you to take part in that freedom. And it's really wonderful. Nelson Mandela said, "May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears." How frequently does our creativity reflect our fears? Fear is an important emotion. It helps us make sense of the world around us. It helps make sure that we don't run in front of dangerous things. But sometimes fear is unnecessary. And we need to trust ourselves enough to be able to step into that hope and create from a place of hope. We can do both. It's not one or the other. But being able to recognize that it's not just fear, that hope is a part of that experience too, that can enlighten our practice. So, how do we apply this childlike lens to our own creative practice? If you are around children or have the opportunity to observe children or interact with children in a safe way, I encourage you to do that. It feels awkward at first sometimes to insert yourself into their play, even though they're asking you to, begging you to, but it's about letting go of control, and that feels awkward sometimes. But it's also wonderful. I really encourage you to try to do it. When we are not around them, and in our own lives and our own creative practices, find opportunities to wonder. What about this? How could this happen? And even the kind of wonder of, wow, that's amazing. Find something new. I love when I show my kids something that to me is completely normal and to them is such a novelty. It's so incredible. How do they do that? How did that happen? They just start asking questions because it's so unique and fantastic to them. They need to know more. Finding opportunities for ourselves to feel that is very precious. I personally find that most when I'm in nature, when I'm able to go hiking or camping and just be in the mountains or be by the ocean. I prefer mountains over ocean personally, but find what makes you wonder. Look at the stars. When was the last time you did that? It's a soul-filling activity. When we find those opportunities to wonder, we're connecting with our inner child self. And sometimes we see our child self as a separate person from us, but they are how we got where we are. And reconnecting to that place sometimes can be really hard. But I think it's important to recognize where we come from. Find opportunities to play, and play without a purpose, to play without trying to get to an ending. Just free play for the fun of it. Go outside and roll around in the grass, or do a cartwheel, or I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was to spin around in circles until I was too dizzy I couldn't anymore, and then I would lay down and feel the earth rotating around me. It's been a long time since I've done that. I should do that again. Maybe your form of play is dancing. Maybe your form of play is playing Mad Libs or telling funny stories. There's endless ways to play. And don't worry about getting it right. And that's the last thing I was going to say in applying childlike lens to our creative practice, is to not take yourself so seriously. Sometimes creating art isn't about you. It can be, and it should be in sometimes, for sure. But I think it's important to be able to let loose and just show who you are without any veneer or facade or mask. Just completely, wonderfully you. Walt Disney said, "Laughter is timeless. Imagination has no age, and dreams are forever." I believe that when we are connecting to our inner child, we are giving ourselves the opportunity to remember. To remember the important things, to remember how we started creating in the first place. We give ourselves the opportunity to let go of expectations that often burden us down. And I believe that children are such great teachers because they love fearlessly. And I hope that you can find fearless love in your life. It's a very sacred thing. There's room for that in everyone's life. And I promise you it's there somewhere. Sometimes it's hard to find it, to uncover that spark within us. But it's there. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm excited to talk to you again soon. Until then, stay creative. Thank you so much to my patrons for their support, which enables me the freedom to make the content I want. And a special thanks to you for listening. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss any releases, and if you want to support me and my channel, you can become a patron at patreon.com/koicompositions.